Hey folks, how's it going? Today I am here in the Mercedes-AMG GLC43. It's not the full fat 63, but I'll tell you what, it's still a real cracker of a vehicle. What we've got here is basically Mercedes' compact crossover. You know, it's like their X3, their Audi 8, their Audi Q5. But you know what? It's turned up a little bit with the 43. We got a really interesting 2-liter turbocharged engine with an electric turbocharger, which we'll get into more of that later. Price at, as this one sits, it is $77,575. Starts at $64,950, but you add in destination and different paint color, a few other options. You're almost at 80 grand for this car, and it's really neat. There are a few things I don't love. One thing I do love is these red seatbelts, because who doesn't love an occasional red seatbelt? But we'll get into all of that as we start driving, so why don't we do that? How about we start with the launch, okay? Foot on the brake all the way down, gas, race start, and let's go. And that'll get you from 0 to 60 in 4 and a bit seconds, and it feels quick. It tightens up the seatbelt. It's a very fun occasion. Ooh, bumpy road. And that'll take us out of race mode. Let's go into my individual mode, which basically puts the engine, the transmission, all that on full kill, but I get the suspension in comfort because we are in Bear Mountain and the roads are not that smooth. So the real centerpiece of this car is that new 2-liter AMG motor. And I know what you're thinking, that's not a real AMG car. The 63s are real AMG cars. Well, this car is handmade in Germany, and it's really, really cool. 2-liter motor, which a 2-liter turbocharged compact crossover is not exactly revolutionary. But what is really cool is the turbocharged technology you got here. It's got an electric turbocharger, which basically means a little electric motor spools the turbo way faster than like wastegate pressure can. So it can spin up to like 150,000 RPMs like that, which means there's basically no turbo lag. It's a very weird feeling because it feels kind of turbocharged, but also you get it's just, the torque is so instantaneous. The power is also really good. Now, like I said, it's a 2-liter motor, but it makes 416 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. That's a ton of power from such a small motor. And it feels every bit as powerful as that, maybe even a little bit more, as the Germans are wanting to do with their motors. And we caught up to someone, so let's stop for a second. So like the motor's really, really good. The transmission is also kind of new for Mercedes. It's a 9-speed transmission. Upgrade from their 5, upgrade from their 7. And it's mostly pretty good. It does have a little bit of a feeling of not someone who's brand new to a manual transmission, but someone who they've only been driving manual for like a year. So it's still a little bit jerky, a little bit wobbly, not the best, especially around town. You get a lot of hesitation from the transmission, but it's really suited for driving, like aggressive driving like this, where even though it's not a dual clutch, it's a single clutch transmission, it still knocks off shifts really, really fast. But like I said, for everyday use, which is kind of what this car is for, this isn't a sports car. You're not going to get it for just being your sports car. It's going to be your daily, most likely. It leaves a little bit to be desired when you're driving around town. And it's also, I said it's 9-speed. But I swear to God, 9th gear is the least used gear in any transmission of all time. It won't shift into 9th until you're doing at least 75 miles an hour. And then it looks for any excuse to get out of 9th. Which means you could be turning about 2,000 RPMs on the highway in 8th gear, and it won't drop down to 9th. And it's got the torque to do it. I don't understand why. There's no eco mode in this car. which, I mean, I understand why, but perhaps in eco mode, because this is going to be kind of a daily driver, and eco mode would be good to save on gas, because I'll be honest, the mileage is not great, even though it's got that downsized engine. The old GLC43 had a twin turbocharged 6-cylinder, so this motor is a lot smaller than that one. But you're still only getting, Mercedes says something like 25 miles per gallon on the highway. You'll get 22, 23 in reality. I've driven this car, very mixed driving, almost 600 miles of very mixed driving. I've averaged about 20 miles to the gallon. One thing that's interesting to me is the AMG-ification of Mercedes. You know, you can't just, you know, it used to be like the GLK450, GLC450, before they were AMG cars. You know, they're just the big engine, but kind of the regular car around it, which I think is probably a little bit better suited for daily driving. I mean, this car has some pretty stiff suspension. Pretty stiff. Even in comfort mode, it's fairly stiff, which might be a little, you know, if you just wanted the GLC, but with the slightly bigger engine than the base 2-liter turbocharged GLC300, it might not be exactly what you're looking for. But I guess, you know, you're paying all this money, you're paying almost 80 grand, you want it to be kind of special, and it is. It's definitely, it's a car that makes you feel special when you're driving it, because it is really fun to drive. I mean, it handles really well. The steering isn't exactly the most communicative thing I've ever used, but it's very direct, and it's got tons and tons of grip. A lot of that's thanks to the Michelin summer tires, 295s out back, 265s up front, so it's a little bit, you know, slightly staggered stance. But this thing has grip for days. There are a billion drive modes. You got your individual, you got snow, which you'll never use, comfort, sport plus, and race, and they all change different parameters, different things like that. You've got these really nifty little buttons on the steering wheel for changing various parameters for the drive modes. I've got mine set up for suspension, so it's always in comfort no matter what I'm in. And the other one is for the, what is happening? The other one's for the exhaust, because it's got a valved exhaust, and I want it to be loud. I bought an AMG car, I want a loud exhaust. It does drive really well. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't exactly have as much as that dual characteristic as you really like. It's definitely, it feels kind of rowdy all the time, even in comfort. It's not exactly a really relaxed car. It's good at eating up miles on the highway. However, this one, even priced at nearly $80,000, doesn't have radar cruise, which kind of chaps my ass a little bit, if I'm being honest. Mercedes has a really good, you know, driver assist radar cruise system, and this car doesn't have that, and I feel like it should for the price. The rest of the tech in this car is really good. You got this really super customizable gauge cluster in front, where you can put all sorts of different information, different looks, a full map, all that good stuff. And the center screen, I know some people have complained that it's a little overwhelming. I don't find that to be the case. I've been using it for, you know, about a week now, and I've found it to be super duper intuitive. Everything's where you kind of would think it would be. Sure, maybe it takes, you know, 10 minutes of futzing around to figure out exactly where everything is and getting it set up to your liking. But once you do that, it's really good. So all in all, I really like the GLC43 AMG. It's, you know, when I originally got it, I thought it was kind of a fraudulent AMG car, because the 63 exists with its over 600 horsepower, a monstrous motor, and all that good stuff. But I found this car to be really super duper charming in the time I've had with it. It's a pretty solid blend of, you know, AMG performance with some of the daily capabilities that you'd expect from a, you know, compact crossover like this. It's not perfect by any measure, and a big reason for that is the transmission. It's just a little bit wonky for my liking. Now I'm sure with time, Mercedes will tune it, make it a little bit smoother, you know, maybe utilize ninth gear a bit more. But the transmission, it's you know, it's characterful for sure. You know, BMW using the ZF8 speed, everyone uses the ZF8 speed, and that transmission's almost too perfect. Like, it just works every single time, every shift is the same. This one's a little bit, it's, you know, it's a little imperfect, and that's kind of fun to me. So, but you know, this car competes with, you know, BMWs, Audis, the Genesises, and I think it's a really compelling package. Just be aware that it's not going to be nearly as daily focused and smooth as you might expect from a non-top dog AMG car. That being said, I still really enjoyed my time with it. Thanks Mercedes for you know, let me borrow the car for a week and put a ton of miles on it. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.